it. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Ay, this is what you
We're gonna do this. We're gonna do the thing. We'll fix it. We'll fix it in post. It's all me. Fantastic. All right. All me all the time. You see. Oh wow, I am totally full screen. You were right about that. I thought no. Yeah. Okay. So I switched my camera to the Insta 360, which messed with Arugs's sizing because she adjusted the sizing last week. And so now Streamlabs is being a pain, and so I am now full screen. And so, really? Okay. Well, this is not going to be much of a show then. This is the Sheldon show. Clicked on the okay. So yeah. So Roogs is currently muted. So right now you are only hearing me, and she is fighting with Streamlabs trying to get it to resize. Yeah, you clicked on waking up and you ended up with the Sean show. I my condolences. This is what's happened this morning. This is Streamlabs technical difficulties. Yeah, it wouldn't be one of our shows without some technical difficulties. So there it is. I could break out Legos. No. All right. So what are we talking about today? What am I apparently what am I talking about today? What is our what are we titled? Busting out all over. Well, this my video is busting out all over. That's for sure. Because I am full screen. So June has been a month. We are halfway through this year, and it just I feel like I say this every year. It just goes by way too fast. Um, so yeah, here we are, almost July, June 23rd, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. I have no idea what to say here. So I got my trusty trauma coffee cup. You could talk about the sudden discomfort of being full screen and no idea what to talk about. Yeah, that is absolutely a thing. Um, I have hmm you could hide me. You could hide the scene or hide the source. Fantastic. They still can't hear you, can they? Why can't they hear you? Oh my god. Why are you muted? Oh my god. Um, yeah, we can we can help you. Yeah, that I feel like that's probably what's going to happen. There is going to hey Loki human, hey Tainted Calvino and Bonnie. Oh, look, you trying to hold your own. You got no. I don't have this. I don't have this at all. This is incredibly uncomfortable that I'm just sitting here. I am sitting. I am sitting in my discomfort because I'm sitting here watching you watching me, and I am full screen. And this is supposed to be the waking up with Arugs and Pep, and there is all Pep full screen and no Arugs. You're gonna delete me altogether. Okay. God, yeah, such discomfort.
I'll give Pep a break. It's fine. And I'll mute him. So it's cool until he can figure his shit out. So it's okay. No, I need to add him. Here's the thing that bothers me. You know what? And I'll unmute you so they can hear you. Here's the thing that bothers me is the
Okay.
thing that you bitch about in all of the
Mhm.
years that we've been streaming, all of the years about how, oh, I hate it when they tell me last minute and I need to change shit. And you literally pull the same fucking bullshit. And then you're like, I don't understand. Like, oh, I should have told you. And then understand why people are mad at you.
I didn't remember that you adjusted for my camera last week.
Even though we
If
had
I
an
had,
entire whole discussion about it 10 minutes before last stream. It's called information retention. You were a teacher. How would you think of it like a student? It's like, here's your test. I didn't remember that you taught that to us last week. Ugh. How would you feel? Tell me, how would you feel? Be honest with everyone. If somebody just told you, I just didn't remember that you did this last week or you taught this to us last week. Tell us your feelings.
I apologized. I am sorry. I offered to switch it back. As soon as I realized, as soon as you pointed out the problem, I offered to switch my camera back so you didn't have
After I had
the
already
damage.
started adjusting for it. After I started already adjusting for it.
So
You Betty.
welcome to waking up, folks. I don't have enough coffee for this.
Break out your emotion wheel. You don't have enough coffee. Okay.
It's not a comparison. It is possible for both of us to not have enough coffee.
That is true. It is also possible for you to also do the intro to the show and to do the disclaimer all by yourself, yet you refuse to do it.
Well, welcome to Waking Up with Arugs and Pep. Thanks for being with us today. We are.
I'm gonna
In this
murder him, y'all.
podcast, we
He's
talk-
gonna, y'all.
in this
He's gonna
podcast,
die.
we- I mean, at least make sure it's a good one.
No, I'm gonna make it the most
Here-
boring death possible.
Okay. Here on Waking Up, we are not licensed therapists. We are not licensed counselors, psychotherapists, or anything. We are not certified. We are certifiable, but not certified. We are just two
And now you're
trauma Triscuits.
Are you doubled?
Okay, with a spoon. Yeah. I bet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she is. Hey, Shifty. We're just two trauma Triscuits. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
keep
I still
talking so you
can't.
can-
I still can't adjust you, even when I add a new source. So, and you're doubled. Why are you doubled? I don't understand. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's off with my head. I think that's what's happening.
It is not off with his head today.
Really, it feels that way. I'm getting the impression it feels that way.
And now you're doubled, and there's no way I can figure out what is wrong. So,
So did you delete remove the source, or is the original source still there?
let's try now.
Okay.
Yes, I deleted
So,
the source.
Okay. Kevin, do not pass go. Do not collect 200 cats. Go straight to hell. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Mm-hmm.
It's fine. Pep's fine. It's fine. He's just, I don't know what to do. I really am. And I am like livid right now. So if we want to talk about my
Mhm.
emotion reel, I am about to lose my shit. So it's fucking cool.
Yeah. She's gonna kill him by dragging him to death behind a golf cart with a stuck throttle. Oh my god! I used to drive a golf cart when I was in one of my jobs, early IT jobs. I used to drive a golf cart around the hospital. It was dangerous. They let me drive it once in a while. No, that was really dangerous. So, again, we are two trauma Triscuits, just dealing with our trauma, going through life, trying to grow, become better people, and learning along the way. So we're trying. We are trying. So we have this podcast. To just
I
share
forgot
our-
you can see me.
I can't see. Yeah, they can't practice me. I get all the facial expressions.
That was pretty.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh.
There
Mhm.
we go. We're almost there.
Now is not the time to make light of this. It's fine.
Oh, I'm not trying to make light of it. I was just noticing
Somebody
that- okay,
rescue
start
your
with
boy.
the-
Somebody rescue your boy before it gets ugly. Somebody rescue him.
I don't think anybody wants to come between you attempting to mutilate me. Stuck with a top speed of 6.3 miles an hour, too slow to jog. It's like an escort quest. That's what it sounds like.
No, I won't. I won't name it that.
Mm. Oh.
What do we name it?
Yeah. But what do we name it? What do we,
I don't know what to name this either.
You know what? That's fine. June-ish. Yes, there you go. I'm good with that. It is. It's partway through the year. Oh God, it's partway through 2024.
And
we're
I
done.
don't know why you sound the way you do. So you literally, when I added you on, it sounds like garbage. So
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, it is what it is.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so did I miss anything in the intro? I'm trying to think if I missed anything. I think I covered everything.
Oh my
Two Tremors
God.
Triscuits not what? Two Tremors Triscuits not listed. Yeah, when it goes left. This went far. Yeah, this is far left. This is what happens when I mess with the Roogs' stream, and she's got to fix it. She's got to compensate for it.
Some of us aren't used to compensating as you are.
That is correct. Wow, you are mad. You're cutting deep. Yeah. That's a surefire way to tell when she's had enough. The wounds are no longer superficial.
Y'all should have known from fucking 3 bars that I don't go. When I'm mad, it doesn't even no. We go fucking nuclear. It's fine. I am sorry, Pep. It's okay to be mad. It's not okay to be mean, and that was mean. I apologize. That was very cruel. You didn't do anything on purpose. I know this, and I am sorry. I really am sorry. I'm gonna need a minute.
I know. I know the feeling. I absolutely understand the feeling that you're feeling because I do. And I apologize. I am sorry I caused this. I should have warned you. I should have thought about it. I should have considered it. But I do understand the absolute frustration. Like frustration is just not nearly as strong enough a word. Like it is just this deep-seated anger that boils up when this happens. I know, because whenever it happens to me, you see my face. You're like, I immediately go into this. I've got to fix this, and I'm pissed off, and don't even talk to me. Yeah, you've seen it. I've produced for years. You've seen it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, hi, welcome to Waking Up. But then now, yeah. So I apologize for messing your stream. You're messing with your stream and causing you to have to fix it.
I think the thing that bothers me, if I'm being really honest, it's not that the stream messed up. Mm-hmm. It's not even that. I think it's the I forgot. And I'm like, I hate that. Like, I'm so fucking tired of that phrase. I am tired of the I just forgot. Now, occasionally, okay. And it's not just you, but it's just like that whole, you didn't think to consider. And I know that, we're trying to work through our trauma. We're not thinking about other people. But then there's a point where you got to start thinking big picture. Yes, you got to work on yourself and you got to think about yourself, and you don't have to worry about other people all the time solely, but there's a balance. And I am so tired of hearing of the I forgot, I just didn't think about it, I just didn't do this. Then and it's a consistent thing in I hear that all the time. If you're not thinking, then don't come at me and I'm having to fix your problem because you didn't think about it. And that's not fair to me. And that's not fair to anybody else when I do it. So why the fuck? What the fuck? So then you're expecting me to think about, oh, I just forgot. I'm going to let you fix the problem because you're the only one that can fix the problem. But I didn't think enough to tell you the information that you needed to make sure that beforehand that this didn't happen. And I think that's the frustrating part. And that's where I come into my trauma and I get triggered because it's like, oh, I didn't think about it, or I forgot, or I figured you can handle it, or, Aroogs can fix it. No, that's not fair to me. You didn't think about it because and it's not just you. And I don't want to make that very clear. You do it often, but it's not just you. It's literally been all my life. I forgot. Oh, okay. So you forgot that I told you this, even though I told you 3 times, or I didn't think about this. That irritates me because that's sitting here hitting on my trauma where I'm going, oh, Arooks will fix it. Oh, it's fine. She's just going to do it with a smile and she's going to act like it's no big deal and she's just going to get over it. And maybe that's my problem. Maybe that's my trauma. Maybe that I need to do that. Maybe I need to get pissed off more often. And I mean, not really like, oh, ha, like it's Arooks, like really pissed off. Maybe people will start remembering to consider me before they start going, I just forgot. Like, really? Like, maybe I need to start getting angry. Maybe I need to start being bitchy. I don't want to be, but maybe that's something I need to do. And like, I don't want to do that, but I am tired of just being the whole therapeutic. Well, I understand, but here's where, like, where is the boundary? Where is the boundary on, do I set that? That's the problem I have. It's like, okay, we use our therapy words. It's okay to be mad, but it's not okay to be mean. But like, how many times do I just have to say it nicely and not be considered before I get really pissed off? And then people get all flabbergasted that, oh, she's really angry. Yeah, I was angry 5 times. You did that 5 times ago, but I was trying to be considerate and I was trying to be nice and I was trying to be therapeutic and I was trying to feel my feelings and not get really pissed off. But here I am getting all frustrated because this is the 20th time I've had to do this because, ooh, somebody just forgot, or ooh, I didn't think about it. Why am I having to fix other people's problems? Because they just didn't want to use the brain that God gave them.
Yeah. It's not fair to you to have to pick up other people's slack, especially when you shouldn't be the one responsible for it. So
it's my
you're right
stream
to be
and I get
frustrated.
it. It's on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
But we do this together. Like and this is not even just like related. I mean, yes, Pep triggered it, but this is literally a deep seated trigger because I've been doing it all my life. I've been handling this all my life. Like, it's fine. Like, even you talked about my dad saying, oh, it's fine. Anna's got it. It's fine. I am so tired of being the, oh, she's got it person. Oh, it's fine. Oh, you know what? She's very kind and forgiving and understanding. Yeah, there's only so far that goes.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a life too. I got a lot of shit going on too. Yet I have to remember not only my stuff, but I got to remember other people's stuff because they just forgot. I had 2 small fucking humans I got to remember for because half the time they can't remember half their crap anyway. And you know what? I love it and I will do it for them. And I will do that 120 times % because they forgot. And I will go back and I will drive back as many times as I got to because they forgot this at my house or forgot this at dad's house. And I will do that because they are the humans that I'm in charge of. But I am not in charge of grown fucking adults. And I know I'm not the only human on the planet that gets frustrated about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not y'all's mom.
Where's the boundary? The boundary is no longer compensating for other people's forgetfulness or inaction.
But like when I did that and said, no, you're doing the stream because I can't, you fucked with it, I can't do it. And then you just totally panicked. What am I supposed to do? And then you get upset with me because I'm like, fuck it. Like, what am I supposed to do?
I wasn't upset with you. I was very uncomfortable. Well, I was frustrated because
oh, look, we're doing real time. We're gonna do real time on stream today. Here, waking up. Here's like you're like here. It's real time.
You attempted to fix it. It wasn't what you were attempting to fix it, and it wasn't working the way it was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And then you threw your hands up. You got frustrated, and were like, you know what? This is just what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But then you also left yourself muted, so it wasn't just like me being full screen and all right, I'm just going to end up being full screen, and then we're just going to deal with that. It was you decided that you were no longer going to be a part of this.
Did I log off?
No.
No.
I didn't know what was going to happen. Um, so
So did you want me to unmute and have everybody hear what I was saying?
yeah, not why you were really angry at me. And
So you would have rather me unmuted while I was angry saying all of these things than be muted and trying to help like maintain at least some semblance of I'm really pissed off, but I'm going to try and at least calm down a little bit. Cuz I will be glad to unmute myself when I'm that angry if you really want me to.
Oh, no, I didn't know that you were staying muted so that you could, so that you could regulate and then you'd be fine. I didn't know where it was going to go.
But
yeah, I was definitely freaked out.
Okay. But instead of running with it, you were waiting for me to tell you what to do. Whereas if this thing happened in reverse, I'd be like, take it and run with it.
Yeah.
Are we?
I don't.
Like, this is what it is.
We're not this. We're not the. I don't have that. I don't. You. Whereas you take it and run with it, I freeze up. Like if it's with something like this, if all of a sudden I was doing this on my own, I freeze up instead of going, okay, well, let's just just pick something and go with it, pick a direction and go with it. I'm like deer in the headlights.
Why?
I don't know. I am.
But you have a solo stream.
Yes. Yeah. I'm also I'm also prepared. I'm prepared for that somewhat. I also have something that that can I have something that I can kind of put the focus on, like on my Lego stream. Okay, so if I don't have anything to talk about, then I'm just talking about what's in front of me. Whereas,
what is your fear about not having anything planned to say?
Not that is it. That's the fear. Not having anything to say. That's come up in therapy before. That actually came up in therapy last week.
Oh, well then do tell. No, go ahead.
Well,
nah.
Well, it wasn't heavily explored. It came up. I think that's going to be something that's going to be explored.
Right here on stream, because there you go.
Yeah. It's yeah. I was having this conversation with a therapist when it came to talking about like small talk or meeting people or having conversations with strangers, or even people that aren't strangers, is running out of things to say, like not knowing what to say, not knowing where to go with the conversation, and just oh, it sounded like a Cascadian effect. Get it? Yeah, the awkwardness of sitting there without knowing what to say. That is uncomfortable for me, and it is hard. It's struggling to deal with, because I feel responsible for that. Okay, I need to come up with something to say, something to talk about. So part of maybe it is the anxiety behind like talking to people, talking to random people, just going out and talking to people is the fear of not having anything good to say, or not being interesting, or not having anything interesting.
Mm-hmm. What happened? Pep got muted.
Oh, at what point did I get muted? How long have I been muted?
Not too long, I don't think.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Kevin is like, we lost Pep. All right. Hopefully, am I back? Can you hear me now? Kevin, now? Give me a sound check.
And he's back.
Okay. That's
Why do you feel responsible to
So-
carry the conversation? And why do you feel like it's awkward? And why can't you do small talk? I mean, a lot of people can't do small talk.
Mhm.
But why when
it's
what,
not-
what and here's the other thing.
Mhm.
When all of a sudden things change and it's like all of a sudden you have to be responsible for something last minute, why do you freeze up?
When you say responsible, you're talking about like the talking on the stream.
Yeah, like all of a sudden it's like, okay, you got to do this. Like I can't. I need like why is it all of a sudden like you freeze up and like can't like
Sometimes I don't. There are times that you've left, you've walked out, you've had to go do something. And so I've just kept talking.
mhm.
But like if you had said, hey, I can't do waking up today, I need you to do it. Like I would have been like, I'll do it like a stream instead. Because like I don't know what to do, where to go. I'm still double.
Yeah, I can't
Double now?
undo you. I don't know when I
Okay.
added you back on. I
Um,
don't know what's going on. So and now you're muted.
Okay, so muting that, you couldn't even hear me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What to say? What direction? I wouldn't know what direction to go. I wouldn't know what topic to cover. So instead of talking until I figured it out, I would just I would freeze. Like the anxiety would lead to would cause me to freeze. That's how I often respond to that type of anxiety.
Right? Why?
Why? I don't know. I don't know why. Probably to have something to do with being too much as a child and talking too much and being.
But you're
think
not
it
a
was
child
probably
anymore.
Yes, I get that.
That's what my therapist says all the time. But you're not a child anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the adult Sean doing to address that?
Talking through it until something happens, or just talking.
Because that's doing so well for you here recently. Let's just talk about it until I figure it out. I like talk like what?
Well, the others to sit in silence. So,
But it's not even just the talking or the sitting in silence. It's the emotion behind the action, which is something that I've been working through in therapy today. It's not about the action. It is the emotion behind the action. It is not like, okay, so you may have a triggered like me. I have a triggered reaction and I just freaking lose my mind. Okay, that's a triggered reaction, but it's the emotion behind the reaction. It's the like, okay, I know I was angry, but why was I angry? Okay, I was angry because I was triggered. Why was I triggered? Because I'm feeling really frustrated and angry because I am tired and irritated and put up because I'm tired of feeling put upon because others feel that I'm just gonna fucking handle it. And I feel very taken advantage of. I feel very used. I feel very like it's not fair. Like those are like the feelings of all of those. That's the feeling underneath it. And once I can address that feeling, okay, this is the feeling and reason I'm feeling why, hence the reason I'm feeling triggered, then I can deal with that emotion going, okay, like, so what's the emotion of you freezing? Like, what's the emotion behind the freezing? Yes, okay, so you were told that as a child, but that is the trauma. That's not the emotion that is caused by the trauma. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I over here was like, okay, because all of my life, Anna will take care of it. It's fine. I just forgot. You just are going to have to deal with it. You'll just handle it. You'll just deal with it. It's that whole dismissive, like what I feel and what I need and what my considerations, wants, needs were not considered. Hence, I feel angry and neglected and I feel very used and put upon. And those are those things that's not the trauma. I mean, what has triggered me and what I am feeling, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? What's the underlying emotion because of that? Now, do I think that you would purposely do all of those things? No, but I got triggered. And so what emotions come up behind that? So then hence you are over here, you got put into a situation where you're like, here, you just take it, I just here, and then you just totally freeze and panic. Why are you panicking? And is it panic?
Well, I think part of it was defensiveness. I was feeling I was triggered by what was happening, and I started feeling defensive because I was feeling defensive because I felt attacked. Yes, I made a mistake, and yes, I could have handled that differently, like telling you at the beginning and so on and so forth. So in my defensiveness, when I get triggered defensively, I absolutely shut down. So instead of going the opposite and and going offensive when I feel defensive, I retreat when I get defensive.
That's not true. You have often gone offensive when you've been defensive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to think of. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay.
But why do you feel like anytime you make a mistake that elicits a reaction, then all of a sudden you get defensive and consider it an attack?
Because you were really, really angry.
And I had a right to be really, really.
Yeah.
Because you made a mistake. That's not an attack. That was me being very, very angry. Now, the thing that I said on stream about overcompensating, yeah, that was an attack. And that was, I get that. And I apologize. And I should have said that. And I know that. And I know I said that, but beforehand was an attack. But but this is not the first time that you've considered an attack when I have elicited some type of response that was not happy and understanding and calm.
No, I don't think that just because it's not those that I immediately think it's attack. Like I wouldn't say that I expect you to, like, if it's not one of those, then I immediately feel like it's an attack. Because there are other times where you have reacted in such a way.
I've reacted in such a way towards you? Because usually when it's something that you have done, like you've made a mistake and it has elicited an angry feel, you Like, and I am only I'm only bringing this up only because it's like, what is like, it can't, like, we've been rebooted for 6 years now. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you should know me by now. Like, but and I get it. But this is a consistent thing that we talk about all the time. It's like,
Yeah. When I get triggered when you express intense emotions, or you express it to me, and I get triggered and immediately start to shut down, and I have to force myself to deal with that and to not respond in that same way. Like my brain sometimes my brain is swirling with thoughts, and I won't, like, but none of them will come out. And other times I feel like my okay. Sorry, my computer made a sound. And I was like, what was that? Um, other times I feel like my brain completely does shut down, like, and there's no thoughts there. Um, I'm afraid to make it worse. I think that's one of the things that happens whenever, like, I'm afraid that anything I say is going to make the situation worse.
oh, understandable.
Mhm.
That is understandable. I mean, I get that. But also something that I'm working through is your responsibility to say or do anything that is to try, like, because that's emotional manipulation at that point. If you're not saying anything because I don't want to make it worse, but you're saying the thing that is honest, or you're saying the thing that's going in through your head, but I don't want to make it worse, that's emotional manipulation at that point. It's you manipulating this situation. Well, I felt, and then later it might come up and go, oh, well, I was feeling this way but you were really mad, so I didn't want to say this. So it's prolonging whatever the emotion is or the situation is. And why is it so difficult for you? And why do you only get defensive when you were the one that made the mistake and I get angry? Is it really that you're defensive because I'm angry? Or is it you're defensive because you made a mistake and you're feeling something else?
Go. That's it.
So it has really nothing about me feeling angry about a mistake. It's you actually making the mistake.
I think often that is the case. I think often it is, I have problems making mistakes. That's it. That's definitely something that I struggle with, is making a mistake and not being a mistake, making a mistake and it not affecting my self-worth, because I often attribute mistakes to that. If I made a mistake, that makes me less valuable as a person. It's not just I made a mistake. It hits deeper than that. I react deeper than that.
Oh, I fixed it.
Oh yeah. Woohoo! Sweet. Yeah. I have difficulty making mistakes, and then.
So it's not me being angry. I mean, it is me being angry.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Nerdy Will.
Hey, Nerdy Will.
Thanks.
No, that's all right. Yeah,
Diamond
we need
Star.
sound checks sometimes.
Yeah, I know. No, but so, I mean, there is me being angry, but like you and I, like when we have fought, and the difference between you and I is that as anyone else can see, and anybody who's been watching the stream since 2020 has known that I feel very intense emotions. Yay, BPD. It is just a thing. It is just a thing that I've got to be very aware of. I was very angry, but then it's like, as soon as I was like, okay, as soon as I got to a place where I was regulated, I'm like, you know what? It's fine. Like, give it down. Did I say some things I shouldn't have? Absolutely. Did I make an ass of myself on stream? Yes, probably. Full display. Not the ass that anybody's going to subscribe to. But I don't know. There are some people that are streamers who are assholes who have a lot of subscribers. So I don't know. Maybe I should start being an asshole more often. But in these 6 or 7 years that we have been rebooted, we have often talked about that and how I approach you when I'm angry. But it's still, after so many times, you're still defensive. And it's still one of those, like, half the time I don't know if I can get mad at you. Like, I can get mad at you and just not say anything, which is not a good place for me to be.
Well, because the problem isn't on your end. The problem is on my end. You're allowed to experience your emotions and express your emotions. You're allowed to be mad. For me, by not trying not to be mad or not to express that, you're not being who you are, and then you're trying to compensate for my reaction, which is my responsibility.
Right.
So
we're two people just emotionally manipulating each other. That seems like a good basis for a relationship. That's cool. That's cool.
That's fine. Traumatist gets trying to work.
That's fine.
But that is something that I've worked on and continue to work on, is my response whenever we're in that situation. Because yes, you are upset, you are angry, you're intense, and your emotions are absolutely valid. It's not okay for me to see it as an attack or get defensive about it or shut down. Even if I'm really, I'm responsible for my triggers. If you're trying to tell me how you're upset about something that I did, and I get triggered by it, I have to recognize that I'm triggered by it. And if I need 15 minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes, okay, I'm feeling triggered. I need a couple minutes. It's my responsibility to tell you that I do need a couple minutes. But that is something that I am working on, and that I continue to work on, because it's really difficult. It's still absolutely a struggle for me. I still have plenty of times. I still have times when that I respond that way, and so I have to kind of talk myself through that. But I don't want you to not express your emotions. If I did something to upset you, I want you to tell me that I did. Otherwise, it builds resentment, and that is absolutely, it's a killer. It's a friendship killer. It's any relationship killer.
I think the problem a lot between you and I when we get in an argument is that you get defensive and then I get on the defense, because then it's like, now I have to defend why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. Now I have to defend why I got upset. Now I have to defend why I am okay, why it's okay for me to be upset. Because then, like, because there are times where that you didn't do it this time, but there are a lot of times where you go, well, that wasn't my intent, so I shouldn't be upset. So you shouldn't be upset because that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant to do. It was just an accident. So so it's very much like that. So even though this time probably didn't happen because you were on stream, like, there's a lot of times.
Classic invalidation. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. I absolutely see what you're saying. You're right. Whenever, if you say I felt this way, this happened, and I felt this way, and my first response is, well, that's not what I meant, or that's not what happened, or that's not. I'm absolutely invalidating your emotions, and that is absolutely on me. That is a terrible way to respond.
Which makes me angrier. And then you get which perpetuates this cycle where we just y'all have no idea how lucky he is. The fact that the camera was on, because it was like, it could have gotten ugly. I have gotten ugly. I mean, I have never messed with an intelligent woman that has BPD and somebody with very.
it becomes a very nasty cycle for us.
It does.
And it takes anything. It takes a simple, and you've said this to me several times. It takes what should have been a simple conversation and turns it into a fight, turns it into a massive conflict where there shouldn't have been there should have been it should have been a simple conflict to handle. It becomes a massive conflict. It becomes much worse than it should have been, than it
Yeah.
needed to be.
Yeah.
You're right. So that is something that has taken a lot of therapy to work on. Is responding not invalidating your emotions, because I think it's very easy. I think it's very common. It was very common for me. I think it's very common for a lot of people that the first response is, well, "That's not what I meant." Well, that's not what happened. That's not you. Some variation of you shouldn't feel this way because
Oh,
yeah.
you just even saying the words.
it hits you.
If you guys only knew how many times he has said, "That's not what I meant" to me, just this year alone.
Now, all right, at the risk of triggering something, this is what I have been taught in therapy is that the explaining what you meant, it is okay to do that, but not until you have already validated their emotions and validated emotions and made sure that the person feels that you're hearing them. And then you can say, okay, this is what I was thinking. This is what was going on.
Instinctual defensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Nerdy Will, yes. And see, the issue becomes, I think, especially for Sean and I, is that it is a perfect storm of trauma. This is like like we're getting as real as we can get on Waking Up right now. Like,
yeah,
from the get-go, like I couldn't set up a fucking podcast topic better than this is, but is because of my trauma and where because of the things that I had to grow up with. It's very much the moment somebody invalidates my feelings, I have to go, well, then I'm wrong. Or I have to go, I don't have a right to feel this way. Or I instantly go, fuck it, you're right. Like, even though I'm feeling whatever it is I'm feeling and I'm thinking whatever it is I'm feeling, like, you know, especially like when Sean gets defensive and like, especially when he is dug into that defensiveness, it's just like,
yeah,
you know what? Forget it. Just forget it.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's fine. Like that, like it's, you know what? It's fine.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Like
and there's the resentment that comes in, and that
right.
Yeah.
Like, it's not worth it. I'm not like, why yeah. I'm not, this isn't worth the fight. Yeah. Even though it is the worth the fight for me, or it is worth a fight, anything. Like, conflict is not bad. And we've said this over and over and over again. Conflict is not bad. It is how you get through the conflict and how you resolve the conflict.
Yeah.
That's not what I meant. And intent is very adjacent to gaslighting too.
It is. No, you're right. It is. That's not what I meant. So you shouldn't feel this way. That's not what I meant. So you have no reason to be angry. You have no reason to feel your feelings, because that's not what I meant. If that's the crux of the argument, if that's the crux of the response, then yeah, absolutely, that is completely invalidating. And that is unfortunately how I often responded to Arugs over the years.
And here's the thing that actually was very unhealthy for me, that you and I both, like, you were like, I see what you intended. I see what you intended to do, but that's not what happened. So in turn, it was just like, I'm going to focus in on what you intended to do, which isn't what happened. I'm not going to focus and try to resolve the issue. I'm just going to focus in on okay, so this is what he intended. And that's on me. Because then he's just going to keep repeating it because he's just going to know, well, she can see what what my intentions and not how it's making me feel. So in turn, I am literally gaslighting myself. I'm sitting here going, okay, it's not that big a deal. Because he didn't intend to make me feel this way. So I'm just going to accept that this is just how I'm feeling, and this is going to accept I'm going to feel like garbage, or I'm going to accept I'm going to feel mad or sad or whatever, because he didn't have any ill will or ill intent. So it's fine. But if we're looking at it in a different way, if he physically hit me and I go, well, he's just frustrated. I just pushed him too far. That's exactly what that is. It still landed. It still hurt. But he didn't mean to.
Yeah.
And that's not okay.
Yeah.
And that's just teaching you that it's okay for you to hurt me and make me angry. And I'm just going to be like, well, he didn't mean to. Just because you didn't mean to didn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah, because then you invalidate your own emotions. Because then you're telling yourself, I shouldn't feel this way because he didn't intend to.
Constructive conflict versus destructive conflict. Oh, nerdy Will. If you knew how many times I have addressed that in my individual therapy, in my my family therapy, in my group, if you knew how many times conflict comes up. Conflict, there are some people who thrive on conflict. There are some people who can navigate conflict and they have, you know what? Good on you. Not when you are fucking trauma trisket. Not when you've spent half your life.
There are some people who thrive on conflict they thrive on unhealthy conflict.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah. Hell yeah, constructive conflict. Oh my God.
Pep and I haven't figured out constructive conflict yet. No. Unless we're being real honest. If we are being real fucking honest, we have not figured out constructive conflict. And we've been rebooted for I don't know how many years.
5, 6 years. Probably, I think 6 years now. Nerdy Will says to not have any conflict. I mean, someone's breaking things. That was a good bit of my marriage was the lack of conflict. And I thought the lack of conflict was a positive thing. I was completely all wrong off there. The lack of conflict was creating resentment. And that resentment.
The lack of conflict means no one is taking accountability either. I think that we focus in on the lack of conflict as people aren't being honest, which means people aren't being honest about being hurt or angry. But at the same time, if no one is being honest about how that other person hurt them or made them angry or how they're feeling, then the other person can't take accountability for what that they're doing.
Yeah.
So nothing ever changes and everything stays the same. And then you don't learn in that friendship, relationship, whatever, you're not learning how to go, you're right. I made the mistake. I'm sorry. You don't learn how to apologize. And they don't. And so when you do apologize.
Oh, God.
When you do apologize, it's not sincere because you're only apologizing because it's escalated to the point where you're just trying to give up. You don't learn to go to de-escalate and make it constructive conflict, because a constructive conflict involves being honest about your emotions. It means taking accountability and not taking full accountability, but going, okay, I hurt you and I accept that, whatever this is. Sometimes you have to take full accountability. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a two-way street. It's not always a two-way street. And I think that if you approach it, you have to take your part too. I think that's also a very unhealthy way to take that.
Yeah.
Well, I did the wrong thing, but then you're not really apologizing.
That's correct. Yes.
I know what I did. I made a mistake. I hurt you. but you could have, or but like no. That's not taking accountability.
Yeah.
That's not apologizing.
Taking the opportunity when the other person expresses how they feel, something that they feel about you did something and they felt, using their expressing their emotions to then express your emotions about something they did, that's the wrong time. And I think that happened. That's something that I've done, which is instead of me coming to them at some point going, hey, this happened and this is how I felt about it, they go, hey, this happened, you did this and I felt this about it, and then go, yes, okay, but you did this and then this is how I felt about it. Like, I jump into their space and take over their conversation that they initiated to then express mine. It is okay for me to express mine, but it has to be a separate conversation. It is not part of the same. It is my responsibility to, in a healthy way, approach that, not to take over. And the way you're looking, you dealt with that a few times, haven't you?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yes. See, and that's where the invalidation comes from. It is where do you go from they're expressing their emotions? I think the first step is always validation. The first step is always letting them know that they are allowed to feel their feelings and they're heard and they're seen and
Nerdy Will
and that's
Calvino both have very very good points, and
yeah.
What Nerdy Will we'll get to that first one here in a second. Yeah, like Calvino, absolutely. Like, that's the whole reason we do Waking Up. That's the whole
Yeah.
And honestly, that's the whole reason that over the years since 2020, it's especially important for me to just sit here and go, I'm fucking human. I'm going to get fucking angry. And, you know, there are going to be times where I'm going to show my ass on stream and Sean's going to show his ass on stream. And that's just the reality is that's why we do what we do, is the reality is that we are real people. Yeah, this is content. Yeah, we're streaming. Yes, we're on the internet. So, I mean, we can't be complete assholes. I mean, but also being dishonest about it is totally against everything that we are trying to build in this community. And this community we're not perfect. I can be a fucking bitch. I can be a whole ass bitch. Like, I can get when I am in a triggered state and I am in a dysregulated state, it gets ugly. And it gets ugly because there's a lot of times and it's decades. It's not just like, you know, it's decades of trauma. And it is that, no, even if I'm in a healing state, and the healing part of it is not the fact that we don't get triggered and that we don't deal with the traumas and that we don't make our mistakes. The healing part is in recognizing when it is and recognizing what it is. And then as soon as we are able to regulate at a point of somewhat regulation, to go, okay, we're not going to continue with the dysregulation. We're going to sit here and try and to deregulate as much as possible or de-escalate. Sean and I, it's fucking, we go through cycles. It's fine. It's up and down. Sometimes we're really great and we're really close and we're like all the time. And then sometimes I'm like,
Yeah.
I do not want to even the sound of his voice right now. I don't talk to me. But we're human, and Sean's human and I'm human, and that's what happens. And I don't think we think of it as a stumble. I think it's just one of those, okay, well, we're just going to show our ass today. It's fine. Subscribe on our OnlyFans. Like, it's fine. And so Sean is talking about being in their space and validating. That's a very big part of where him and I both struggle, especially with each other. Huge. We very much struggle with that. And I think it's honestly because we are approaching our traumas in that, like I said before, make that perfect storm. from our childhood up through our marriages. Like it is that perfect storm of we are coming at it, and
our triggers trigger our triggers.
Right.
Each other's triggers.
Right. Yeah. And it's very much like, form a hurricane. The storm fronts come in and they just happen to and it happens.
Yeah.
I think
we're learning.
Go ahead.
I would say I think we're learning how to deal with our triggers. I am learning how to better deal with my trigger, to recognize, because the first part for me is recognizing that I am triggered. That's what's happening at this moment, is I'm feeling triggered. Because if I don't recognize it, I can't do anything about it.
And that's way more difficult for Sean than it is for me. And it is so much. I'm usually the one going, I can't. I'm usually the one, because of my BPD and because of the way my therapy is going. I have to because it is very important for me to get to that. And so that's what I've been concentrating on and been working on, is like, I'm triggered. I'm not just feeling this emotion because he did something wrong. Is this a trauma? Because my trauma, that's the nature of my BPD, is it's triggered. It is put in place by a traumatic event or repeated traumatic events.
Yeah.
Sean has very much learned to intellectualize and bury his emotions. So when he feels this emotion, his instant place is to go, I'm not triggered. I'm feeling this and I'm not feeling it, and I shouldn't be. Like, his instant place is to go, I'm
not let myself feel the feeling.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he doesn't understand why he's angry. He's just angry.
Yeah.
But there's no, like, he's just angry, and or he's just sad, or he's just upset. And there's no, he's not really thinking, am I really upset, or is what they just did, even though it's upsetting, also triggering something that is going on? Mm-hmm. Because the reality is, I get to deal with all of the trauma that he hasn't dealt with his marriage. So I get all the female, like, triggers, like, it's great. I'm the closest female he's gotten. Guess who gets that?
Aww.
Hey. I've accepted it at this point. I've just accepted it.
Yeah.
But Nerdy Will says, so what's the healthy way for the hurt person to address things? Speaking up about the feelings, yes, and getting that validated. But like, what's the step after? And how to reconnect and get back to where things were before the hurt.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends on the person. And depends on their trauma and all of that. Because Sean approaches me with his stuff way differently than I approach him.
That's been a topic in my therapy too, is, okay, now what? And sorry, I shouldn't.
I think first off, I think for me, and I don't know about you, Sean, because I can't speak for you. I know for me, I have to approach the situation of, here is the emotion that I'm feeling. Mm-hmm. Here's what you did that upset me, hurt me, angered me, pissed me off, whatever, whether in that, but not approach it with the expectation of, here's how you're gonna fix that. Mm-hmm. I think approaching it with an openness and vulnerability, and that's where it becomes very difficult for me, is, here, you've made me angry, and I'm gonna sit with that. And I'm going to sit with that anger, and I'm going to approach that vulnerable. And I can't do anything for your response. Mm-hmm. But I also used to sit with, you made me angry. So I'm in my head hoping you say X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. Hoping that in the next few days you do X, Y, and Z to make up for that. Mm-hmm. Because that's setting an expectation that's not fair to you. Now, if we have previously discussed, hey, when you do this, But that's the discussion you need to have when you're not arguing and you're not in a
Yeah.
dysregulated state. And you need to go, hey, when I feel disconnected or I really need this afterwards. And it's having that discussion when you want to reconnect in that reconnection, because I'm an anxious attachment person. So I need all of the afterwards. I need all of the motherfucking reassurance. I need all of the,
Yeah.
I still love you regardless of how it is. I love you even when you're angry or ugly crying. Or when you know, I know. However, and the other person's responsibility. I know that you were angry, but I don't want you calling me names, or I don't appreciate when you do this. And that's a discussion that you have. But some people are avoidant. Some people are like, I just need to not look at you for a little bit. I need some space. It's not that I don't love you. It is not that I don't want to be here with you, but I just need some space.
And it's important to communicate that,
Right.
especially to the anxious person, because the anxious person is going to want to pull in while the avoidant is pushing away. And so if the avoidant doesn't communicate that, the anxious.
And the
gets
fun
triggered.
thing about it is the avoidant and the anxious usually end up together.
They do.
It's so great.
Yeah, that's usually how it happens.
But-
Nerdy will.
Go ahead. You address it.
Nerdy was like, I have a tendency to pull back a bit because I think they need space, but sometimes I'm kind of like after when it feels like it's kind of the conflict has happened, I am so incredibly uncomfortable in that moment because I'm like, I don't know, like, what do I do? Do I lean in or pull back? Do I give him space? Do I give him space, or do I like? And I'm so uncomfortable at that moment of I don't know what to do. So I just kind of sit there. So instead of doing something, I sit there.
Tell me you have trauma without telling me you have trauma. Okay.
Right?
Do you want me to take this further? You want to go with it?
Well, I can tell you what my therapist said.
Okay, tell us what your therapist says.
My therapist, because what he does, whenever I say I don't know what to say, I just sit there. He's like, well, then stop just sitting there. If you don't know what they need, I don't know, maybe ask. It's like, I hate you. Oh my God, I hate you. Yeah, that he says that a lot. He's like, so next time, why don't you just ask if what they need? Hey, do you need a little bit of space? Or hey, do you need this? Or just tell them how you're feeling. Hey, I'm feeling disconnected. I'm feeling this. How do we get back to, what can I do, or what do you need? He said, you just got to say the words. Suck. But yes, my problem is not saying the words, having all the thoughts and not saying the words.
Yeah? That the case?
Dang words, right, Nerdy Will? Yeah, the words are happening up here. It's like a snow globe. But nothing comes out.
Yes, you have to say the words, but here's also with that. Okay. And this is definitely from my point of view, because this is something that is still first off, you have to learn that it's going to be uncomfortable and accept the uncomfortable, because I think that if you're like, okay, the conflict's over, what do we do now? It's the overcompensation of trying to make everybody feel the good chemicals. No, everybody, all parties involved need whatever it is they need to process what just happened. Just like it's hard to defuse the bomb after it explodes. You can't it's exploded. Yeah. So yes, we need to clean up the mess, but you got to put out the fires, and you got to make sure it's still safe. It's safe first, right? You're not just going to instantly just pick up the broom while there's still smoldering pieces.
That go about your business,
right? Yeah. You need that time, and whatever that looks like for whatever, and everybody's different, and how you handle conflict with different people, because everybody's different in how they handle it. So it's not all cookie cutter. So that's why conversations and, hey, what do you need? What, etc. But when asking, hey, what do you need? Because what you need might be space. You need time. You need, you know what? Hey, I still love you. I'm not abandoning you or whatever. I just need some space. But they might need in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
they might need a hug or reassurance and that physical touch or words of reassurance or whatever that is.
Yeah.
But having to accept whatever it is that they need.
Mm-hmm.
And for fixers, I have found out
For
fixers,
so hard.
that's not
Tell me
okay
how to
for
fix
them.
it.
That is
Tell me how to
not
fix
okay. No, because we tell you how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying I tell you because Sean is absolutely the number one on this list. Like other than Cyrix, like both of y'all like are very avid fixers. And it's one of those. Tell me how I can fix this or tell me what you need. And I tell you what I need. Or I'm telling you exactly. But that doesn't make logical sense to you. Or like you're like, that's it? That can't be just it. That can't.
That's the one that gets me. I'm like, no, it can't be that simple. Can't be that simple. Nah. It's got to be more complex than that. It's overthinking the simple.
You can train the debris to come train bomb sniffing dogs. Fair, but that's a totally different thing. But yes, it's sitting in that discomfort because I am also that way. Not because I'm a fixer, but because I am one of those. My trauma is, I was expected to do as quickly as possible, put everything, the bomb has exploded and I was expected to be the hazmat team and I was expected to do it as quickly as possible. And it didn't matter if the building was smoldering. I was going to do whatever I had to do to stop the smoldering, to fix the room and to make sure everything was right as quickly as possible, or it was just going to re-explode.
To make the other person feel comfortable.
Yeah. Great time.
That's messed up.
Yeah. I'm aware.
It's pretty messed up, Rugs.
I mean, nah, really? But in this, and there's a lot of times where I've had to tell Sean, I'm like, stop. You just have, this is what I need. It's no more, no less, nothing. This is what I need. And I have to do the same thing. Are you sure? That's what, like, okay. And not constant, like if they need space, because again, it's very much because I'm the anxious and I've usually ended up with the avoidant, and it's very much I need some time away. But my anxiety, my anxiousness, my thing is going, they said they love me. They said that they care about me. They say that they forgive me and everything's okay, but they just need space. But the anxious person in me wants to be constantly going, are you okay? Is everything fine? And checking in on you. I'm not trying to, but see, that's in turn not respecting that space and boundary and going, they're going to, and there's a give and take and going, hey, it's been a while. I'm feeling, I need this, but also understanding what is a need, and then what is my anxiety telling me to do? What is my trauma anxiousness telling me to do? And that's hard. That's hard to distinguish. And I very rarely get it right, but it's like Sean's working on that. It's a constant practice.
And it is a constant practice, and I make mistakes. I will do it, and then I won't do it. How does one figure out what they need in those times after if someone doesn't know? Yeah, that's a tough one because the other person doesn't always know what they need. Ooh, that's a good one.
I've said that before though. What do you need? I don't know.
You have.
Usually when I can't speak for other people, but I can speak for myself. Usually when I say I don't know, that most of the time means I'm still dysregulated. Because because usually I do know what I need because I've done that work. Some people haven't, but that usually means I'm still in a very heightened emotional state.
You still got processing.
And you're still processing. So that's when, for me, because I'm a like I said, I'm one of those. I'm a hazmat team. Like I'm gonna sit here. Okay, well, that's when I start doing things. That's where Sean and I very much differ. I will just throw shit at a wall and see what sticks. If they don't know,
Mhm.
so if it's like, hey, what do you need? I don't know.
Yeah.
First, I will try the things that will be in their reassurance in their space.
Yeah.
Hey, well, can I give you a hug? And a lot of times, and it's like, what do you want to eat? It's that question. I'm hungry, but I don't know what to eat. So you start naming off things. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
It's very much that process. Hey, can I give you a hug? I really and they'll know. They're like, no. I'm like,
That's a good point.
okay, well,
Yeah.
can I just sit here with you? Is it okay if I just sit here with you? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll just sit here with you. And I do that with my kids a lot because they still don't know what they need. And that's fine. I do that with my kids because they are not mature enough to know. So, hey, and they're getting to the point where they can like, hey, can I give you a hug? No, I don't want a hug. Okay. Well, can I sit here with you? Okay. And then I'll start talking and I can tell like, okay, that's not working. All right. So they don't need that. All right, cool. Well, okay, that makes a lot of sense about being yes. And so because if you honestly for me, and again, I am not a professional. This is just things that I do. So everybody's different. Everybody approaches this differently. So this is just what I try to do, whether right or wrong. It is just what I do and what I found works for me. And actually works in reverse. A lot of people, when I say I don't know, that's usually what the best thing that works for me in reverse. Just start doing something. Start saying something. Just do. I don't. That's why Sean is like. That's why I gave Sean that look because I don't know how many times in the past 7 years that I have told him just do something.
Something.
I can't tell you.
And my trauma at that point, my trauma is, well, you don't want to screw this up, so you got to figure out the right thing to do in order to not make something worse or to restart a fight or whatever. So in doing so, I do nothing, which it actually can cause the thing I'm trying to avoid. Because then, especially with an anxious person, like my doing nothing is like pulling back. So now I've potentially triggered them, and all of a sudden we're back right in this heightened state. Like, oh,
especially when that anxious person also has BPD and they have a massive fear of abandonment. So anytime there is conflict, that I'm just letting anybody knows that anybody with that type, it's after an argument, even it's bad. If you don't do anything, then all of a sudden it's not even, you just made it 10 times worse. You've just resolved this conflict. And then it's not only that, you have prolonged the conflict for days. Because then not only are you dealing with the conflict that was immediate, now you're dealing with the trigger that is established, and they're having to deal with that, and it's difficult.
Your conflict starts getting layers, and that is the any button. I don't see where's the any
button.
Where's the
button? Where's the any
button? Yeah. No, I like the idea of, because you may not know at this point. If I say, what do you need? I don't know what I need. But you kind of may have an idea of what you don't need, especially if you start to receive it. No, that's not what I need. Hey, here's some reassurance. That's not really what I need. Here's some encouragement. That's not what I need either.
There's many times where Sean thought, I just need to say nice things to you.
I'd like to think that I have really improved.
You have
on that one.
You have,
because that is because I'm the golden retriever, right? I'm the golden retriever. So mine, like, okay, let's think happy thoughts. Let's have fun. Let's do something positive. Let's make you laugh. Let's tell a joke. And so I'm like, all right, golden retriever energy, and you're like, It's not what I need right now.
Literally, very distinctly, there was a time where I was upset. I wasn't even angry. I was
Yeah.
like upset. Like I was crying. I was feeling a very deep sense of like just frustration. And I wasn't upset with him. I was just upset about something.
Mhm.
And I was just crying and I was frustrated. I was frustrated because I was feeling these emotions. So it was all these things. And I am just hardcore ugly, like movie wailing, sobbing. And Sean's on the phone and he's going, "You got this. I believe in you. You're strong." And I stopped and I literally, in my moment of massive deregulation, screamed at him. I went, "I do not need a fucking cheerleader right now, and you can shove all of those platitudes up your goddamn ass." And I was just, then all of a sudden it turned from frustration of like this emotional state to just anger, because I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?" Because in that moment it was very dismissive. It was very much, "I'll pray for you. It's fine."
Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. That's kind of become that's my conditioning is it's really hard to unlearn that because I still feel that. I would be lying if I said I didn't still have those not intentions, but like whenever there's conflict, I still feel the need to like, oh, I should say this. When you see me delete text message, sometimes that's what's happening. Is like, oh no, I type it and they'll go, no.
Sean is notorious for the bubbles, and it's just like bubbles and those little dots, the dots that last for about 10 minutes. And I finally will get to the point where I'm like, "Are you actually going to send the text, or are you going to just keep deleting whatever it is you're saying?" And at that point, usually I call him so he can't delete. Usually, yeah.
But like,
yeah.
Sometimes the only way I can deal with that, like when I feel that urge to be a cheerleader or to be the thing that you don't need, is to put the phone down. Sometimes that is the only, because if I've got the phone in my hand, I'm gonna be constantly like, should I say this? So I just like put the phone down and walk away. I've got to, otherwise
Sean's learned to put himself on mute. Like when I call him, he has learned to put himself on mute. He put himself and we have agreed to that, and that's okay. And that's something, again, that's something that we talk about. But
you can tell me that,
right,
and that helps.
I don't need you to say anything. I just need you to sit here. Like, that's taken me a lot of time and work, and unfortunately in conflict, which you have seen with us, like Sean and I are regulated now. We can talk about it. I mean, Sean will probably ruminate over it because he still hasn't gotten to that point where he lets things go. I'm just like, okay, I lost my shit. It's not a big deal. Whatever. Sean will be like, "Are we okay?" Like
Probably will.
I'm sorry.
At some point today.
Do you want to fix your stream? Do you want to fix it so that this doesn't happen again? That'll be what Sean does, and I love him for it. But then that's just what he like. I will just be like, and I'll half the time I'll be like, I'm not even. What are you talking about?
You move on, and I don't. I struggle to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've had this conversation. You're like, that happened yesterday. I'm like, I haven't even given that a second thought. And I'm sitting here ruminating and marinating on it for like 24 hours.
He's all like, he'll go between angry and sad and frustrated and worried and anxious. And he'll go through all the emotion wheel. And I'll just be like, I'm going to play some Sea of Thieves. I don't care. Like,
exactly. See, Nerdy Will, I call it marinating, because that's what I'm doing is I'm marinating. I'm sitting in it, like soaking it up, instead of just going, okay, move on. So that's something that I have to remind myself of when there is conflict. Is the conflict happened? We've talked about it. We're at a point where we've discussed it. We've said what we need to say. We've actually said that. Okay, you know what? I'm done. We've communicated it, and you've even told me, just so you know, I'm moving on.
I've had to say that. I have had to over time. Actually, it's only been within the past year and a half since I've actually started doing the hard work, where I've actually had to start saying to him, I'm okay. Well, are we done? Are we done? Is there anything left that you have to say? Is there anything left that you're feeling? And you know what? I can accept the fact that maybe some things came up afterwards that he just didn't, that he hadn't processed yet. I've accepted that. But we have to leave it at that. We can't just redig and rehash the entire conflict. But I've had to say to him, okay, so I'm going to move on. I don't tell him that he has to move on, but I'm going to tell him I'm done. We have discussed it. I am okay with where we're at. I'm going to feel whatever emotions I feel and deal with that, but I'm done. I'm moving on. Like, I'm not holding on to this. I'm not going to be mad at you any longer. I'm not going to I'm not also going to, if I've done something wrong, I'm also not going to hold on to that guilt and shame and try to make amends for it. And I had to learn how to do that. I had to learn how to let that go because I did that in my marriage. I've done that with my friendships. I've done that with my kids. I have to understand that this conflict is this conflict. Is this conflict something that was like today? It was a mistake. He didn't think about it, but triggered me in a way of a trauma that I had. I accepted that was a trigger. Hey, I reacted poorly. You did make a mistake and make me angry. And I had the right to be frustrated, but I didn't have a right to okay, that's where we're at. I'm moving on. Will Sean probably forget to tell me something and go, I forgot? Yes. And will this start all over again? Probably. But in this instant, it's done.
Yeah.
We had a show. We talked about it. Sean will probably log off and totally panic and check all his camera settings because I know that's exactly, he's laughing because I know exactly what he'll do. Check all his camera settings and say, hey, do you want to walk through this? Hey, let's walk through your Streamlabs. Hey, he'll do that. That's what he does. And I will be like, I'm fine. If it's going to make you feel better, conflict is conflict, and conflict is complicated, even in the most healthy, mentally and emotionally healthy people. But especially when they're like Sean and I, they're two traumatized people where our traumas make the perfect storm. And we had to learn how to fight. And we don't even, even now, it still gets ugly.
Yeah. It's not perfect. By no means is it perfect. I think it's better than it used to be. I think it is better than it used to be. Yeah. It used to be really ugly.
Ugly. Yeah. We both, because we had not dealt with our traumas in all of it, and we hadn't even acknowledged half the shit that we were doing, we would come out of the gate going straight for it. It was Hunger Games. It was, we are going to be the last man standing. There was a winner and there was a loser, and we were both out to be winners, and we were out going to, and that was our trauma. Absolutely. And that's still that still gets triggered a lot. It's but at the same time, we have done enough work that in recognizing that even like that one pot shot I took, I mean, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna take that nice little wounding shot, to the ribs, but then I'm going, that's usually when I get to that point and I do that, that's at this point I go, that's not okay.
Yeah.
That's not okay. Cause I literally just slashed a vein and I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I could be angry, but I'm not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But before it was oh no, I'm going to land this shot and I'm going to land this shot and I'm going to win. It's not about winning.
Yeah.
Who really wins?
That's a big difference between our friendship 20 years ago and our friendship now. Is what is our focus within our conflict? What is the focus of our fights? And it was for so long, it was, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm going to win, you're going to lose, and I'm going to do whatever I've got to do in order to make sure that happens, which includes lashing out, taking pot shots, whatever manipulation. I need to win. I have to win. And we've learned that if that's our perspective, there is no winner. It doesn't matter what happens. There is no winner. The only way to win is for us to look at it and work on and take it. We are against the problem. We're against the conflict, and we're going to figure out how
That's
to deal with that.
and that was a big thing that I did in my marriage, and I know that you did in yours, and I know that that is very much it's come up a lot. Also in therapy is it's not when the conflict comes up, it's not me versus that other person.
Mhm.
And sometimes that other you can't control, and that's the other hard part in conflict is you can't control how this other person's going to fight or how this other person's going to view it, but you have to view it as it's me and that other person against the problem. And we can fight about this problem. And we can take different stance on this problem. But I'm not out here I'm not against this person. We are fighting to win against this issue, not against each other. War never changes. You're right. Yeah, no, winning, you don't ever really win. If you want to maintain here, and that's the other thing I had to learn in TPT. If you want to maintain, do you want to maintain that relationship? And that's a very valid question.
That's true. Yeah.
Do I want to maintain this relationship? Do I want to maintain, if it's somebody you like a coworker or a fucking like a boss or whatever, and like you don't really care if they hate you or not, go for it. But if you want to maintain this relationship, if you want to continue to have something close and nurturing and growing, then you are going to have to fight different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Differently.
Yes.
Yeah. But Nerdy Will, it's like asking if there's left for the share. Yes. And that's the other thing. Because Sean will do this sometimes. I was like, is there anything left that you need to talk about?
Yeah.
And yes, there are occasionally things that he'll forget. But if it's something that he was feeling in the moment and he just didn't say because he just wanted to end the conversation, then that's not on me.
That's correct.
And it's okay. It is absolutely within my right to go. So when I asked if there was anything left, you lied to me.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You were dishonest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's on me. So if I have something to say, it's my responsibility to say it. Whatever feelings I was feeling, whatever trigger, it's even if it's not something that I need, even if it's something I need to process, I have to be able to communicate that I'm still feeling a certain way, or this is still happening in my head, or whatever. I need some time to process this, or hey, can we talk about this? In the middle of the fight, you said this. In the middle of our conflict, you said this. Like if you hadn't caught yourself about lashing out, that's important for me to come back to you afterwards and go, you said this thing in the middle of the fight, and this really hurt. This is how I felt about that thing. And then for us to deal with that specific conflict. But if I say, no, I'm good, I can't, if I say I'm good and I can't come back later and go, well, I wasn't actually good.
Because then you're not really resolving the problem.
Yeah. Because then you're gonna start wondering every time you ask that, you're gonna start wondering, well, is he really good?
And also for me, for my trauma, this is absolutely, again, my trauma. So I'm making that very clear. This is not universal. It has been in my experience that when somebody doesn't tell me that something's wrong, or that I've said something that hurts them, or I've done something that hurts them, yes, they need time to process that. But then I've also found that they take those feelings and emotions and found a way to bring it up later to win.
Yeah.
Or to, hey, okay, now I have all the information and all the strategy. I've had this strategy. Now I have it so that now I can actually win. So it's like retreating to gather your troops to win that final to win that final battle. So then it puts in that whole, okay, the conflict's over, But now I'm re-dealing with it a month later. And it's like, then all of a sudden I'm not prepared. I'm caught off guard because in my head, okay, we resolved this. Nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. And then, but all of a sudden it's not. And on top of that, because it's been so far between the conflict or the initial conflict versus the reattack, I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what I did, especially if I am dysregulated, because when I'm in a dysregulated state, I am not thinking, I am not there. I am not sitting here remembering everything I've ever said because I am coming from a place of dysregulation and emotion, heightened emotion. So I'm saying things, thinking things like that. I don't know. But then they'll remember. And a month later, they're like, well, you said this. Oh, okay. And so then it looks like I'm lying, and then that it perpetuates a fight that I'm confused. And then I end up going, well, then I must be wrong because that's not what I meant. I don't know. I don't like, and I end up very confused. And so that's why it's really important for me where, like, if you're going to bring it up, this is the time to bring it up because I'm not going to have this argument again. And if I really hurt you and you need time to process, then you can tell me that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. If there's something there, but I don't know exactly what it is yet, because that's one thing I'm still learning to recognize and deal with, accept my emotions and deal with them in a healthy way. So if there's something there, but I just don't know exactly what it is, I at least need to communicate that something's I need to process this, and then can we talk about it? Because then you're not caught off guard. You're like, okay, so there's something that's going to come up, and you don't feel like you've been blindsided by this thing, or feel like I was keeping score, tallying up.
The scorekeeping.
Scorecard. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I did not mean to trigger you like that.
Trigger me? You got just as triggered. Don't even start with me, motherfucker. Like, don't even start with me. Oh, we both were like scorekeeping. We're like, oh.
That's dirty. Again, it comes
I have scorecards that are like this, that are books. They're books. They're not even like, I'm just as bad about scorekeeping. And I know you are too. And like,
yeah. All this stuff. Well, you did all of this stuff.
And they bring it back up. We resolve this. And it's like, oh, okay. But then they bring back that point that they landed. Okay, well, here's what you did. And here's what then you get thrown back, and you're not. That's destructive.
It's hard to handle conflict in a healthy way when the other person, when it feels like the other person's coming in bad faith, because you're trying to be open and vulnerable, and they're just they're swinging hard, and you're like, how do you maintain that vulnerability and
you don't.
They're taking those shots.
You don't.
You can't. Yeah,
you don't. And let's be. And we're going to be real honest. We don't. And we come back swinging.
Yeah.
You want to come at. You want to come at me with a sword. I'm going to come right back. I'm going to come right back at you. And we'll sit here and have this battle again and again and again. And it's repetitive. But then it's fine. It's a constant nemesis type of situation.
Yeah. And then it's a win and lose situation, and it's nearly impossible to shift that to a healthy conflict. Oh, yeah,
damn near impossible.
It is. It absolutely is. Honestly, I don't know if it is possible to shift it at that point. It takes both people coming to that point, which I don't know if it's possible.
And I think that if you're getting to that place, right, you're getting to that place where you go, this is not constructive. I am not having this conversation. And they may get mad at that. If they're not in a place to where they can hear that, they might still continue to take shots at you. They might continue to do that. But you have to understand going, this is not okay. And you do not, because you can't control other people's behavior, what they say, what they do, what they think. You cannot control. And that's the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
But I can go, I'm not having this conversation. And if they keep yelling at you, you hit ignore if it's via text, or you walk away. Or if they keep
Yeah.
yelling at you and following you in the house, get in the car and you leave. Like, this is, you can't, and keep repeating, I am not having this conversation with you. This
Yeah.
is destructive. I am not having this. It's just like setting boundaries, and it is setting a boundary.
It is setting boundaries. You do not have to participate in this conversation.
I
They
am
can keep
willing.
talking all they want.
Yes,
but
I
you're not
am
gonna be here
willing
for it.
to talk about this with you, but I am not doing it in this manner. And that's very important to really repeat and say, I am willing to talk about this with you, but not in this manner. I will not be talked to this way. I'm feeling dysregulated. I'm getting angry, and this is not good for me. And that is perfectly okay. And they might call you selfish, and they might call you all these things. But you, again, when somebody's doing the boundary and trying to hit your boundary, that's a thing that you have to do, repeatedly say to yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's hard, especially when you're a people pleaser, or you've been taught that is your job to regulate somebody else's emotion. It is very, 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 very difficult. And a lot of times you don't do that. But for the 1 out of 10 times you do, you feel a little empowered and you feel really good about yourself.
Yep. And it helps, that victory for yourself helps propel future ones.
Right.
So, yeah. Conflict. That's a tough one. Conflict.
We could talk for like hours and hours and hours about it.
I didn't learn how to have healthy conflicts.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah.
Especially when you grow up in an abusive or neglectful home, you almost never learn how to have healthy conflict. Period. Yeah. It's almost next to impossible. Mm-hmm. Because in reality, conflict is about survival. When I don't know about you, I don't know about other people, but right. I know for me, it was about survival. Conflict was about survival. And 100% it has been about survival up until here recently. Conflict was about surviving. I had to survive mentally, emotionally, and sometimes physically. I had to fucking survive. And I was going to do that at all costs, whatever I had to do. And luckily I'm very intelligent and very smart, and I know how to do strategy really well. So it's exhausting.
Yeah, it sounds that way. For me, surviving, I think, looked a little different. Well, I think it looks. Let me just talk about myself and not you. Assuming what you did. So conflict for me, is about survival, but the survival for me is maintaining the status quo. It's about surviving for me is often. How do we wrap up this conflict? How do I get out of this conflict so that we're okay? It was how do I end the conflict, which means taking responsibility, even if I didn't think, if I thought it was whatever it was, okay, I'm gonna take responsibility and move on. Mm-hmm. It wasn't about expressing how I feel or working with the other person to address the conflict. It was simply, well, okay, that's that. You're right, and let's move on. That was survival, because doing the opposite was risking the friendship or risking the relationship, and I didn't want to risk it. Therefore, it was easier for me just to acquiesce and go, okay, you're right. I'm a terrible person. That's where that comes from. Yeah, you're right. I'm a terrible person. That was horrible. I'm not worthy. Let's just move on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's some conditioning right there. That's some trauma. So
what? Yeah.
Right, I know.
On a podcast about trauma? Stop it.
Trauma? Crazy.
How do I resolve conflict?
How do I resolve conflict? Okay. I don't like feeling uncomfortable. I am having to learn how to sit in uncomfortable. So
discomfort.
Uncomfortable. Discomfort. So conflict. Yeah. So sitting in the discomfort, I'm having to learn how to do that. And so how do I deal with the discomfort? I try to get out of the discomfort. And how do I do that? By acquiescing. But the thing is, that really doesn't get rid of the discomfort. That really doesn't that actually just shifts it. It prolong and in many ways it prolongs the discomfort.
Thinking about it this way. You are hurting from surgery or you pull your knee.
Yeah.
They give you a shot of morphine. That doesn't mean the injury's gone. That doesn't mean the pain is gone. It's just you don't feel it for a little bit. But eventually it wears off and the pain's still there.
It's worse. Yeah.
Because the pain, you still need to heal the injury. It's still going to take some time to heal that wound. So you just press the button again, give me some more morphine so I just don't feel the pain. Now, sometimes, just like with morphine and any type of, you have to. And in DPT, they tell you that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a distraction. When you're dysregulated, sometimes you need to just not think about the conflict. Sometimes you have to literally just break away and not feel it. I am not in a place. I'm going to literally distract myself.
Yep.
I'm not going to think about it right now. And that's not you ignoring the problem. That is you putting some morphine on it. That is you taking some Tylenol. That is you, okay, I'm going to fix it. I do want to fix it, but I'm not in a place right now where I just need to let it sit and settle. Because sometimes to let a wound heal, you just need to leave it alone. Then you can
stop picking at it.
Right. Even though it's uncomfortable. My therapist said that today. She's like, it's like because I was talking about how I can't sit in okay. And she's like,
yeah.
And how uncomfortable that is for me. And that's been the theme this week, is how sitting in discomfort, which is why I was like, just sitting in the discomfort is that I'm healing. I know I'm healing. I know I'm better, but why is it so uncomfortable? And she's like, because you're picking at the scab. And she goes, when a wound is healing, it's going to itch and it's going to scab over. And that doesn't mean, and it's uncomfortable and you want to scratch it and you want to pick at the scab. That doesn't mean it's not healing. It just means it's uncomfortable because it is healing. And I was like, that sucks. She goes, yeah. And as you say, healing sucks. And I was like, oh, all right. But,
right. And yeah, it's a good analogy. That makes
discomfort. I think we spend a lot of our time because of our trauma trying not to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because uncomfortable always equaled either pain or problems. It didn't.
Lack of safety
meant unsafe.
Yeah.
When in reality, if you are healing, sometimes it's just going to be uncomfortable. And actually being uncomfortable is healthy. And trying to distinguish between the two, sometimes your brain doesn't recognize that and you have to train yourself. Sugar looks like salt.
Or when going back to the scab or the wound, your body is itching, and the way to deal with that is you scratch, because scratching helps alleviate the itch. So you want to scratch, you desperately want to scratch, but in doing so, you are making the healing go slower, and it's only temporary relief. In the long term, you gotta stop scratching it, stop picking at it.
And what do you do when it's frustrating and you know you're not doing it and you're like you feel the frustration and you get that moment, and just accepting that that's a part of it. I think the part of the process, just like with conflict. See, now I'm going to just log off and I'll be like, hey, you okay? And Sean is going to absolutely think on it. And but I would like to reiterate, I am sorry. I should not have done that. I was frustrated, but I wasn't allowed to take those pot shots.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Even though if they were directed at anyone else, they were really good, though.
Sometimes that's why you got it. Like, ooh, that was a really good one.
That was really good. I was like, if I was arguing with anybody else, I'd be like, yeah.
That one landed, but
no, I am sorry. But next time you'll remember, right? You're going to make the effort to fix the mistake.
Or to make you aware of it so that you can adjust for it.
Yeah.
Or let me rephrase that, to discuss it with you beforehand to decide how to best handle it.
Yes.
To go forward. There we go.
Yes.
hey, my camera's different. Do you want to go with what we had, or do you got a few minutes to adjust it? And you can go, you know what? We got like 5 minutes. Let's just leave it. And then
Mm-hmm.
everybody got to see us deal with our conflict in real time. That's a treat, right?
Fair. Fair. All right. Well, I'm letting you know, and I'm letting you know I am done. So if you need to discuss something off stream,
Yeah. No,
Are
I
you
don't
sure?
discuss anything off stream. I mean, I'm gonna think about it for probably a good 15, 20 minutes. Because, that's what I do. But no,
or you
I
could
don't have
practice not.
Okay, yeah. All right, you know what? That's what I'm doing. I don't have anything else to say about what happened. I made a mistake. I apologize for it. I take responsibility for it, and I'm gonna do my best not to let that happen again. So, and that's it. And I'm done. And I'm not gonna think about it once we get off the stream.
But when the thought comes, you go, I'm not going to think about it and do something
I've
else.
dealt with this. I've already dealt with this. I don't need to think about it anymore. The self-talk. Oh, the self-talk. Yeah.
Welcome to Waking Up. Hello. You just woke up we woke up and chose violence today. That should have been our scene. We woke up and chose violence. And then that's it.
Waking up - choosing violence.
Choosing violence.
Gold star. Thanks.
Okay. It's 2:00. 2 hours later.
It's lunchtime. It's 3:00 my time.
Waking up violent.
Waking up violent. There you
All
go.
right.
Yeah.
Did you hold on? Wait.
What are you showing off?
Bear went to Vault-Tec. Bear got a job at
Oh my
Vault-Tec.
god, that is fantastic. Bear is now Vault-Tec. Bear is a Vault-Tec employee.
He does.
That's awesome. I love it.
So, okay. You want to sign us off as gracefully as you signed us in?
As gracefully. I was about to say, as gracefully as signing us in, yes. Well, thank you for joining us for Waking Up. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate everyone that contributed, that talked, that told us how you feel and was vulnerable. So thank you for your vulnerability for our community. We appreciate you being here. We love being here. We love learning more about you and understanding and being vulnerable with you. So for this week, activities coming up this week. On Tuesday, we have 3 Bards and a Dragon, 7:30 Eastern.
You sound like a camp counselor. So for the activities of the week.
The activities of the week.
When did we start doing that? Did we just start doing that again?
Start doing what?
Talking
about activities?
Yeah.
I have.
Okay, well, you go right ahead.
You don't want me to?
No, I don't care. I just stopped doing it because I was responsible for it every single freaking stream, and I had to go through 7 fucking days a week.
You're not responsible for it if you don't want to be responsible for it.
Go ahead and do it. You're good.
Okay, so Tuesday, 3 Bards and a Dragon RPG podcast, 7:30 Eastern. We roll a d20 and it ruins our. I mean, it changes our life.
Apparently, I'm in a battle royale now with Tammy. Over Pep.
I mean, what can I say?
We got a witchy wedding going on, apparently.
We do. It is the 4th episode in our saga of making a movie. And then Wednesday we haven't made a movie yet. Wednesday is Let's Build with Pep. It's my Lego stream. Join me as I work on the D&D set. It is also at 7:30. It's on Wednesday. And then we're back here waking up on Sunday. Of course, there might be random streams along the way.
AKA Arugs gets that wild hair up her ass and she goes live. That's usually what happens. Yeah.
It happens. So, but thank you for being here on Waking Up, another episode. We appreciate you guys. Do you have anything you'd like to add, Arugs, before we go?
4th and final. Tune in with your decoder rings for this year. 4th and final, my ass. You know it ain't gonna be our final. You know I'm gonna battle it out with her. It's gonna be ugly.
Mm-hmm. Are we gonna sell tickets? We should sell tickets.
You know what? I'm dressing up for next episode. I'm gonna dress up for the next episode.
You're gonna dress up for your fight.
Yeah.
Epic.
Well, no, remember, I'm dressed in a red dress. I'm dressed up into the nines, remember?
Oh, that's right. Oh yeah, yeah. You rolled high for that one. Mm-hmm.
I did. All right.
I like that idea. So, all right. Thanks, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Speaking of, they get to see
Yeah.
our closed screen. Yay!
Oh yeah, close the screen. Enjoy.
Bye.
We'll see you later. Bye.
Did you really just high five over me? Right
No,
now?
we didn't. You can
Okay,
do
we're
it.
live. Hello.
Last week.
You don't even do that well from the front seat.
Okay. The bear's coming with the cup and spoon.
That's a straight up PBR for the table.
Yeah.
I think it called.
She ain't judging.